Welcome to this week's episode of the Unqualified Mrs. Cupid. This is your host, Mrs. Cupid. Very happy to see you here again. For this week's episode, we're going to be talking about changing. Do you think someone can change? Or do you think that people are tied down to their nature and there's absolutely nothing they can do to change what they are made of? Well, let's find out. Can people actually change? So, long story short, my ex and I have been texting again. We broke up because he started to not appreciate me, and I guess I had this strong urge to be single. I was heartbroken, but it eventually got better. I miss him, and he misses me as well, and he's been telling me how he's been working on himself, and if we got back together, this time he'll work for it and things will be different. But for me, I am obviously scared of getting hurt like that again, so I am just confused on everything right now. I see all the time people getting back together and it working out for them. Getting married, having kids eventually. Not that I think that's gonna happen to me, but it's a nice thought. I know at the end of the day what really matters is what I think and how I feel and what I want to do. But has anyone been in a situation like this and it working out or not working out? It's been about 2 months since we broke up. Maybe he's just feeling lonely. Okay, now the thing with change and people changing is that you can never really be sure unless you give them a chance. And that's the dangerous part about it. So, for what OP wrote in this post, the only mistake this guy did was that he disregarded their relationship, which, do not get me wrong, not taking care of your relationship and your partner is a huge mistake. Me myself, I have been in that situation before, and when you are on the other side of the stick and you're watching how your partner seem to not care about you or what you have together, to think that this person that supposedly sees you as someone special, as someone who they want to be with all the time, and that not happening, and you just feeling completely alone in a relationship, that kind of feeling is absolutely horrendous. And I do agree. But what I mean when I say that that was the only mistake is that if we know something is that relationships can turn very sour, things can turn very toxic and very awful for everyone involved. So for this relationship, for it to have ended because there was this type of disregard, it's kind of a miracle nowadays. Nowadays relationship end in very dramatic and very hurtful notes, so it seems like it's something small in the big scale of things. But so the only thing that OP can do is that she, if she wants to and she misses him, she, it might be a good idea to give it a chance, because there is something very curious about change as well, and it is that we change only when we have to, only when we see that we're losing something that we really care about, or that it's in jeopardy, something that we really love. That's usually when we finally recognize how important it is for us to change certain things about ourselves. And it's really not that rare for a relationship to end because one of the parties involved disregarded the relationship, and that's why things had to end. And then again, usually those are the relationships that when they get back together, things finally work out. It will sound very cliche of me saying this, but if cliches exist, it's because a situation has repeated itself so many times throughout history and time and the ages that it's almost like a rule. But it is very true when people say that you do not know what you have until you lose it. And when you're talking about romantic relationships, it is not until you see the relationship over or about to being over that you do realize what you have and what you did wrong. Sometimes you do need to take a step back from the situation, watch it from afar, and then you can realize what you did wrong or what do you need to change in yourself in order to make that thing work. And if this guy is saying that he has changed and that he finally realized what he did and what he needed to change for the relationship to work, and now he wants to try again, I would say that just go for it. Go for it, but keep in mind that his actions speak louder than words sometimes. And at the side of this guy neglecting you again and neglecting the relationship again, In that moment, you do need to, like snap your fingers in front of him and be like, dude, you're doing it again. You're doing this again, and I will not stand for it. And that's the hard part. Just think about it. Yeah, give him a chance, but just ponder upon it for a second. Will you be able to end the relationship again if things turn sour again? Will you be able to break up again and do what's right for you again? So if you're able to do it, I don't see why you should not give the relationship another chance. Got back with ex-girlfriend who dumped me. Been together for months, but having second thoughts. So, in August 2021, this woman, 25-year-old, left me for another man after she and I dated for 2 great years. We planned to move to a new state together. She accepted a job, I put in my notice at work, and whittled down my belongings. She had left about 1 month before me. We talked every day, multiple times per day. I packed my truck and I am driving across the United States. Second day into my drive, she calls me and tells me she met someone else, so that was the end of it. I was a mess and didn't know what to do. I wandered around the US for nearly 3 months, sleeping in my truck, staying with friends, family, and then I decided, fuck her. I am still moving to that town. I am the one that wanted to move there for the past 6 years. So I moved there. A month after being there, I bumped into her and her new man in a parking lot. I drove away after making eye contact. She chased me down, claiming she knew I was in town because she saw my truck. Also claimed things were over with that guy who was in her car as we talked for nearly 45 minutes while the other guy sat in her car waiting. We ended up meeting for a beer and started hanging out more. She told me how much she regretted it and all of that, blah blah blah. We have been back together for almost 4 months. I'm really happy with her and she's my best friend. I really feel like she is sorry for what she did. I just cannot seem to shake the fact that she left me for a guy to have some fun, had a 3 month fling, and now I feel like I am just okay with it. Sometimes thoughts just eat at me and I feel like I'm an idiot for giving her another chance. Other times, I dream about our future together and how happy we were. I am really not sure what to do. Maybe a break? Maybe talk to her about it? We haven't brought it up for over a month now. I am really not sure what to do. Maybe a break? Maybe talk to her about it? We haven't brought it up for over a month now. Any advice? So, in this case, I do think that we really need to have a very hard look at this woman's nature because what she did is incredibly awful. So let's look at it. So first of all, she ended a 2-year-old relationship over someone that she had met a month ago. And if that's the case, because maybe she had knew that new guy for 3 weeks and she was able to end a 2-year-old relationship in just a month for someone that she had met for only a couple of weeks. But not only that, Opie had left everything behind and was driving across the United States to meet her and start this new life with her, and she didn't have the consideration or the empathy to think about what she had done and the responsibility of what ruining that relationship in that moment would do. She didn't care about the consequences for Opie. She only thought that she had met another man and she wanted to be with that man. This is an incredibly selfish and unconsiderate person overall because she didn't care that Opie was without a job and without a house and that situation could last for months. It could take Opie months for him to recover, and she didn't care. She didn't care because she was with someone new. She didn't care because she had a job and had a place to stay. And I think that when you want to start a life with someone, you want to be with someone that would never want to see you in such situation. You would like to be with someone that wouldn't let the consequences of her actions affect you directly. What she deals with absolutely nothing, because nothing bad happened to her. Not only that, because we're not over with this woman. So after a couple of months, like 3 months, she saw her ex again, and on the spot, she was able to drop that other man to go back to her ex. That is repeated behavior. It's almost like she has been jumping from OP to the new guy and now to OP, and just like it seems like she doesn't know what she wants. And in the moment that something else, something new appears before her, I do think that she will do it again. Because she saw no problem in breaking up with OP in such a delicate situation. She literally saw no problem in breaking up with him after he quit everything in his old home to go find her. Like he literally dropped everything for her and she didn't care. So do you really think that if she finds someone that seems tempting enough in the future, do you really think that she will be able, to stay faithful again, to not drop you again? Opie says that he just cannot shake off the feeling or the thought that she will do it again, and he is not able to fully trust her again. And I don't think that that's his gut talking to him. I don't think that this is the usual fear people that have been cheated on have, that mistrust, that incapability, to go back to that trustful place with partner. I don't think that this is the kind of mistrust people have after they have been cheated on. I don't think this is the case. I think that this is Opie's gut talking to him and telling him, this is not your place, this is not right, we cannot stay here. I do not think this is one of those cases where mistrust have you on the edge. I think that this is Opie's gut telling him that he's not with the right person and that that's not the right place and that he needs to go. I do believe that's the case. And, I have been talking about this before on how sometimes it's much easier to go back to what you know because you know that you were once happy with that person. Like he was happy with this woman for 2 years. So I think that he also had the illusion, he have already imagined his life with her in this new city, the one that they were supposed to have before she broke up with him. So I think that he's going back to that place where he thought that things were going to work out between them. So I do think that Opie here, he's thinking about her from the point before everything bad happened. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not seeing her as this woman that did these awful things not only to him, but then she did it again to that other guy. He is not seeing her from that point of his life. He is still seeing her or trying to see her in the point of his life before they moved away and they have all of this planned, and he had all of these scenarios in his head of how wonderful and beautiful life was going to be with her because he loved her and they loved each other so much. He's coming from that place in the past. But the thing is that they're no longer there. They are in this new point where she already did all of this stuff as soon as she could, right? So I don't think that Opie is still stuck in that stage of nostalgia, of thinking of, once I used to believe things were going to be great with her, so I don't know why they cannot be great. Things were great before, so I don't see why they cannot be great now. Well, they cannot be great now because she has done these things now that she hadn't done before. So now everything changes. So this is not the same. The relationship and the things between us are not the same anymore. So I do think that Opie needs to leave and he needs to stop fantasizing about the woman that she was and the woman that she could be, and just ignore what she did. Because in this case, what she did speaks louder than everything. And I do not think it's a good idea to stay with someone that finds so easily to drop people whenever she wants. That's never a good sign in someone. You do not want to build a life with someone who found it so easy to drop you like that. Because it's not like their relationship was deteriorating with time and that it was almost inevitable, or that moving out was like the last chance they were giving to make the relationship better or to make things better between them. That was not the case. They were super happy together and they were planning on moving together and starting a new life somewhere else together, and out of the blue, she dropped him for someone else. And out of the blue, she dropped that other person for him again. And just to add, I don't think that this woman has changed because she has not given herself the time to change. Like in a matter of a month after seeing Opie for the last time, She dropped him for another man. And as soon as she dropped that other guy, she went back to him. So you're talking about someone who has not done any soul searching, or who has taken the necessary time for them to realize the mistake that they have made and how or why they want to make it better with the OP again. This person has not done any of that. This person is just moving, by the impulse of her emotions, and that's also never a good thing. My advice is that you OP, do need to leave, because I don't think it's a good idea to stay with a person like that. Should I ask my wife about what I found? Background: I am 53, my wife is 51. We have been married for 27 years and together for 32. We have 3 kids, all over 18. About 10 years ago, my wife started going to double A and has been sober ever since, which has been great for her and us. I am very proud of her. The 12-step process involves a lot of introspection/reflection, and there are many worksheets. One of them is titled Sexual Harms, and reader, I recently saw it in a pile of papers and stupidly read it. It was absolutely a violation, and I feel like shit about it, but there it is. In the worksheet under the column with my name, she wrote about regretting having slept around on him since the beginning. I am aware of one brief affair that she had in 1999, but that's it. We went to counseling at the time. We went to counseling at the time, and I'm truly over it. I bet my life that she hasn't done anything since being sober. But before we were married, we partied a lot. I feel stupid for becoming so upset at things that most likely happened decades ago, but reading that hit me like a brick. During our dating years, I stayed true to her despite having a lot of opportunities. I was in a shitty punk band, and even guys in a shitty band get hit a lot. Now I'm going through my memory and thinking of all the times I had even the slightest suspicion and doubting the foundational years of our relationship. I am also wondering if anything happened after we were married aside from the one guy I know about. My question is, do I approach this subject with her? If so, how? We have a good life. We have been through a lot, both good and bad. I cannot imagine I blow up our family over this. But at the same time, I feel like I have to know in order to get past it. In a court of law, the evidence would be inadmissible due to how I found it, which is why I'm hesitant to bring it up. So, what do you say, people of Reddit? This is an incredibly complicated case, but at the same time, I think the answer is quite simple. So I do think that OP should ask her about it. It doesn't matter how he finds out. It's something that he just needs to explain. I saw a bunch of papers and I got curious and I read it. Is it okay to violate your partner's privacy? Absolutely not. But he already did it. I think that, well, now he saw it anyway, so I do think that he should ask before he said it. He needs to ask about it if he wants to move on, if he wants to get past it. And if he doesn't say anything, that will start eating him inside out. And, keeping things to yourself sometimes can lead to a disaster, to an emotional disaster that will implode inside you first, and then it will explode in your relationship, and things will go downhill from there. So I do think that OP do needs to talk about it. And here, OP's wife is someone that has shown with her actions that she has been able to change. And I think one of the most important reasons that he needs to talk about this is that she wrote in that paper, I regret what I did. I regret sleeping around on him. So even if maybe the answer can be very harsh for OP, right? He said that he needs that answer. And in this case, she has admitted guilt and has shown that she had changed, for the sake of him and her family. So maybe, maybe the answer will hurt OP, but at the long run, not asking will hurt OP even more. Uncertainty is a very powerful venom, and the truth is the only antidote. So I just think that, again, the answer to this question, to this story, it's so simple, is you need to ask. Like, yeah, the way that he found out was not ideal, and I'm sure that she hoped or expected that he would never read those pages, but now he did, and now this thing exists in him, And we're not talking about teenagers or young adults starting their life. We're talking about a couple that has been together for decades now and that have made it work before. Like she cheated once and they went to counseling and apparently she changed and she has shown regret for everything that she did. So I really hope that here truth sets Opie free and that truly, truly, she has never done anything like that in decades. I really hope that's the case for the sake of Opie because it really sounds that he is someone who really loves his family and his marriage and that he wants it to stay that way. My male 19 ex girlfriend, female 18, is not sure about trying again. So, my girlfriend has broken up with me a week ago, and it really caught me off guard because her reasons for breaking up with me were never even mentioned to me. I talked with her about the problems that led up to her breaking up with me, and it wasn't anything that couldn't be solved with just a talk. We talked about it some more, and I was convinced that it was beyond saving because she didn't even think about getting back together. But the day after, she started crying and telling me she misses me. I thought that we could try again, but she said that she isn't sure if she wants to, but we did hug a lot that day. But then, the next day, she acted completely different again. She told me that she wants to think as she is unsure, but doesn't know how long it will take. So, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? I really want her back. We were in a relationship for a year and 5 months. I have a hunch that he is not the problem, but she is. From what I'm reading, I mean, they are 19 and 18. So I just really think that what is happening here is that she is very emotionally immature at the time. Instead of talking to him and trying to fix things together, she just straight up broke up with him, but then she misses him, but then like she doesn't want to go back because she doesn't know. So this just talks about someone who this talks about someone who is very unstable and very unsure of what they want. Like this girl doesn't know what she wants and a lot of the comments there said it that it will take more than a week for these two to get back together. I mean, if he really likes her and loves her and really wants to stay with her, I mean, yeah, he can wait around and see what happens with her if he has the guts and the strength to do that. Because sometimes I think that it's so tiring to be waiting around for someone that doesn't know what they want, and that can damage you emotionally because it can really wear you out emotionally to be waiting around for someone like that. But I think that if Opie like really wants to give it a chance, he should give it a chance and just like maybe remain talking to her, keep texting each other, like not go back together, but just text each other and keep in contact and see what happens and see if maybe she becomes more stable with time. Or the other thing that can be happening here is that this is one of those cases that right person, wrong time. He can also let her go, do his own life, have his own experiences, let her do some growing up because she truly needs some maturing. After she matured, maybe they will find each other again in this life. Because life is pretty funny, and sometimes you think that you will never see someone again, and you do, and things finally work out years later. Many people, like many couples, have that type of story. Like they broke up when they were young, and they went ahead and did their lives separately. And then one day, it turned out that they were neighbors, or they found each other at the supermarket, and they reconnected, and things finally worked out in their favor, and now they have been together forever and ever. But those things do happen. So Opie here needs to make a decision, but I do not think that that decision can be made in 1 week because this girl truly do need to do a lot of growing. And whether Opie wants to stay around, it's his choice. Just keep in mind that staying around, waiting for someone to change or mature or whatever, that can turn very sour and very painful for you when you are the one who's waiting around because you have no idea how the other person will act or will behave in that time or what that person feels like they will need to do in order to grow up and mature. You don't know that, and maybe some of the things that they have to do for themselves might be painful for you, might be something that you do not like or you don't want to see happen, but those things need to happen. So I just think that Opie needs to keep in mind that it's a possibility that if he stays around waiting for her to do her growing, that he might face some hardships along the way. But I truly do not think that he should go back with her right now. She needs time, because if he tries to go back to her, maybe she will say yes, but then she will break up with him again, and she will say yes again, and they will go back together, and then the relationship will get ruined, because being in an on and off relationship, it's very rare when those relationships actually work out, because inevitable one of the two will get tired of that dynamic and they will break up forever and things will be finally ruined. So, I mean, decisions, decisions, decisions. And those are the options. Like, go together, like, try to insist and get together with her, with the possibility that she breaks up with you again because she doesn't know what she wants. Stay around, keep texting her and talking to her, waiting for her to do some growing and waiting for her to be ready for a relationship, or just move on with your life. And I don't know, maybe hope that in the future you will meet again and things will finally work out. But that was everything for this week's episode. I hope that you really enjoy your time here, because I really enjoy my time with you. And with that said, this has been your host, forever yours, Mrs. Cupid. See you till next week.